With the 2023 MLB season just around the corner, I figured why not go back in time a little bit. We are going to go back almost 14 years ago to the 2009 season, where we are going to look at the top 10 prospects ranked by the MLB itself. These guys were supposed to become the next best thing, the next superstars that will change the game. But did they all pan out like that? Did they all become stars? Or did they just become busts that no one has ever heard of? Coming in at number 10 on the list, we have Neftali Feliz out of the Dominican Republic, who at the time was on the Texas Rangers. Neftali was signed by the Atlanta Braves out of the Dominican Republic in 2005. In 2007, while he was on the Danville Braves, I guess an affiliate of the Atlanta Braves, he got a 1.98 ERA with 28 strikeouts in 27 innings. Later that year, he did get traded to the Rangers. But by 2009, he was in the MLB. He had a pretty solid debut. He finished that season with a 1-0 record and 39 strikeouts in 20 games. And by 2010, he was considered by Baseball America one of the top 5 pitching prospects in all of baseball. 2010 was a very good year for Feliz. He won Rookie of the Year and was voted an All-Star. He finished the season with a 2.73 ERA, and in 2012, Feliz was named a starting pitcher for the Rangers after the addition of the closing pitcher Joe Nathan. Feliz seemed to do okay in the starting rotation, but later that season he was placed on the disabled list due to a sprained UCL and had to undergo Tommy John surgery. This is where Feliz's career began to go downhill, as he only played a total of 14 games until 2015. In the middle of the 2015 season, he was designated for assignment. He was signed by the Detroit Tigers, where he was not re-signed at the end of the season and became a free agent once again. After that, he hopped around so many teams. He went to the Pirates, the Brewers, the Royals, the Diamondbacks, Mariners, Phillies. The stats that he put up were very underwhelming. From around 2019 to 2021, I don't even think he played a game in the major leagues. He was just playing for minor league teams. However, he still is playing baseball in the Mexican League. Madison Bumgarner was taken 10th overall in the 2007 draft by the San Francisco Giants. He was then put on the single-A affiliate of the team, the San Jose Giants. And in 20 games, he went 9-1 with a 1.93 ERA and 69 strikeouts. By the time he was in AAA, he had 14 starts. He went 7-1, 3.16 ERA and 59 strikeouts. In 2009, Bumgarner got called up to the MLB, and by 2010, he was already a consistent pitcher in the Giants rotation. Bumgarner had a terrible start to the 2011 season. His first 7 starts, he went 0-5 with a 4.58 ERA, and by the end of the season, he finished with a record of 13-13. The Giants did win the World Series again in 2012, so that was already Bumgarner's second time winning. Starting in 2013, Bumgarner was named an All-Star 4 years in a row and also won his 3rd World Series with the Giants. Furthermore, Bumgarner set the single-season strikeout record by a left-handed pitcher for the San Francisco Giants at 207 and racked up multiple 18-win seasons. However, in 2017, Bumgarner took a step down, not even playing for 3 months because of an accident he got into, I believe, on a dirt bike. He finished the season with a 4-9 record and an ERA over 3 for the first time in the past 5 years. 2018 was more the same for Bumgarner. He missed half the season with a broken finger that he suffered in spring training. It required surgery, and it led to another pretty disappointing season for him. Following the 2019 season, Bumgarner became a free agent for the first time in his career, where he would end up signing a 5-year, $85 million deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ever since joining, he's really been pretty bad. An ERA over 4 and a losing record for the past 3 seasons. So really not much more to talk about. At number 8 on the list, we have Cameron Maybin. Out of high school, Cameron was considered the best outfielding prospect in the nation, and in 2004 he was named by Baseball America the best youth player. In the 2005 MLB draft, he was drafted 10th, and immediately Maybin hit .304 with 9 home runs and 27 stolen bases. In 2007, he was called up to Double-A, where he would only have to play 6 games before being called up to the major leagues. Forgot to mention, he got drafted for the Tigers. That season for the Tigers, he only played in 24 games and did very poorly, batting 143 with only 1 home run. So by the end of that year, Maybin was traded to the Marlins, and by the end of 2008, Maybin was finally called up to the major leagues, where he actually did pretty decently. However, in 2009, he was struggling. He had a really poor start to the season. They sent him down. 2010 was almost the same. Really bad start, sent him down, so he kept getting called up and called down. He definitely was not living up to the expectations. After the 2010 season, Maybin was traded to the San Diego Padres, where he was finally able to show his worth a little bit. 2011, he finally had his kind of breakout year, I guess. Became the first Padres player to steal 40 bases in one season. I would definitely say that Maybin was not at the expectation that everyone thought he would be at, but he was improving. And in 2014, Maybin failed a drug test, which led to him being suspended for 25 games. And then the following year, Maybin was traded to the Atlanta Braves. He actually seemed to have a pretty decent year that year, batting .267, 10 home runs. And then he gets traded again in 2016, back to the Tigers. He fractured his wrist in spring training, so he was out for a little while. He only played 92 games that season, but he did hit .315. I do not know where that came from. The OPS went from 697 to 801. And then for the next few years, he went absolutely everywhere. 2017, he started off with the Angels, got injured. Midway through the season, gets traded to the Astros, where they won the World Series that year. You may remember Maybin coming in as a pinch hitter, got a single, stole second base in the 11th inning, which led Houston to winning the game and eventually winning the series. But overall, it was not pretty. 59 at-bats, he batted 186. 2018, he goes back to the Marlins, halfway through, traded to the Mariners. And then in 2019, he signed with the San Francisco Giants on a minor league contract, but then was arrested in March for a DUI and was released. Then again in 2019, 3 weeks after, he goes to the Cleveland, at the time Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians, and began his season in AAA. And then again, he was traded to the Yankees in 2019. How many teams was this man on? He gets traded again in 2020 to the Tigers for the 3rd time. And the Tigers trade him again in 2020 to the Cubs. 2021, he was traded to the Mets. He went 1 for 28 in 9 games and then got sent down to AAA, was made a free agent. However, you will still see Maybin in the baseball world. He's now an analyst. You may have seen him on MLB Tonight or MLB Network. And he will be joining the Tigers broadcast team this next season. At number 7, we have Brett Anderson, who at the time was on the Oakland Athletics. Brett was originally drafted by the Diamondbacks in the 2006 Major League Draft. He was absolutely amazing in high school, went 22-8, 8 saves, 276 strikeouts, and a .9 ERA. In 2007, Brett was traded by the Diamondbacks to the Oakland A's, and in 2008, he went 11-5 with a 3.69 ERA in 20 games. By 2009, Brett was on the opening day roster for the A's. He finished the season with an 11-11 record with a 4.06 ERA. He led the team in wins and shutouts. Also, at the end of the season, he signed a 4-year extension with the team. 2010 was solid for Anderson, but in 2011, he was placed on the disabled list and had to undergo Tommy John surgery. Anderson did not return until almost the end of the 2012 season, and then he suffered another injury. So really, he didn't play much at all that season, even though he did pitch a little bit in the playoffs. In 2012, Brett was named the opening day starter, but it went downhill from there very quickly. He suffered from a sprained ankle that turned out to be a stress fracture in his right foot. He didn't come back until the last week of August, and the A's just chose to have him come out of the bullpen for the rest of the season, where he was 1-4 with a 6.04 ERA. That is not good. Brett was traded to the Rockies, where already in his 3rd start of the season, he broke his finger. And then in August, he had back spasms, which would lead to a season-ending back surgery to repair a herniated disc in his lower back. He only made 8 starts that year. He went 1-3. And the Rockies declined his $12 million option, which made him a free agent. after the 2014 season. So even though the home runs per nine, the strikeouts per nine, and ERA and stuff like that got better in 2014, it's arguably one of the worst years in his career up to that point. He later signed with the LA Dodgers, and everything just began to get progressively worse. He had to get another surgery on his back. After those few seasons with the Dodgers, he bounced around a few teams, went to the Cubs, into the Blue Jays. He signed a minor league contract with Oakland that was later picked up and took him to the major leagues again, where he had the lowest strikeout percentage in all of the major leagues. Brett Anderson is currently a free agent, but he is trying to return for this next upcoming season. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but he's looking for a potential comeback in the MLB. At number 6, we have Travis Snider, the right fielding prospect for the Toronto Blue Jays. From 2006 to 2008, Snider played in 133 minor league games. He batted .275 with 23 home runs and 91 RBIs. And in the middle of the 2008 season, he was called up to the Toronto Blue Jays, which made him the youngest player in the major leagues at that time. He ended that season with a .301 batting average, 2 homers, and 13 RBIs. It was around this time that the list was made, ranking him number 6 out of all prospects in the nation. 2009 season did not go well for Snider. He was on the opening day roster. He hit a home run and a double, but after that he went into a very long slump, was called back down to AAA, and towards the end of the season, he got called back up. Due to more poor hitting performances in 2011, Snider was sent down to AAA once again, and later that season he got diagnosed with tendonitis in his right wrist, which ended his season. In 2012, Snider got traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he batted .250 with 4 home runs to end the season. The OPS was .652. Things were not looking good. 2013, he hit .215, 5 home runs, and 25 RBIs with the Pirates in 53 started games. And in 2014, Travis seemed to have somewhat of a better year. OPS went up to .776, he batted .264, and he had 13 home runs. In 2015, Snider was traded to the Orioles, and that's where everything started to go downhill. I don't even think he saw a major league game after 2015. He just kept getting released. He went from the Orioles to the Pirates, the Royals, Rangers, Mets, the Diamondbacks, Marlins, and finally with the Braves in 2021. Just this past year, on January 13th of 2022, he announced that he was fully retiring from baseball. At number 5 on the list, we have Jason Heyward. Probably a familiar name for most baseball fans. Heyward was a top prospect coming out of high school. He was offered a full scholarship to UCLA, was also interested in maybe going to Clemson or Georgia Tech, but instead Heyward chose to go straight to professional baseball instead of going to college. In 2007, after getting drafted for the Atlanta Braves, Heyward played for the Rome Braves, a Class A affiliate, and absolutely lit it up. He hit over 300 for almost every month until August 25th when he was promoted to the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. And in 2008, following that minor league season, he was named the top batting prospect and most exciting player by Baseball America. 2009, he was amazing yet again. He batted .323 with 17 home runs and 10 steals in the minor leagues. USA Today and Baseball America named him the Minor League Player of the Year. And finally, in 2010, the Braves invited Heyward to spring training. And while playing his MLB debut on April 5th, in his very first career at bat, Heyward hit a 3-run homer, 471 feet. That is crazy for a first at bat. For a while there, Heyward was living up to all the hype. Batted .301 with 10 home runs with a pretty decent OPS as well. He did deal with some injuries, but he was selected for the NL All-Star team. He finished second to Buster Posey for NL Rookie of the Year, who, funny enough, he played against in high school, I think. They came out of a similar area in Georgia. But he finished his first season with a .277 batting average, 18 home runs, and an .849 OPS. 2011 was pretty disappointing for Heyward. He took a big step back, got injured a lot throughout the season. But in 2012, he had arguably the best season of his entire career. 27 home runs, 82 RBIs, hit .269 with an .814 OPS, and even won a Gold Glove. 2013, Heyward got off to a really slow start, batting .142. He was placed on the disabled list, but when he came back, he actually did really well. and he finished that season with a batting average of .254, 14 home runs, and an OPS of .776. On paper, it might not have looked that good, but 2014 was a really good year for Jason Heyward. He agreed to a 2-year, $13 million extension with the Braves. Finished the season with a .271 batting average, 11 home runs. He also had an amazing defensive season, ended up winning the MLB's Defensive Player of the Year and the second Gold Glove of his career. At the end of that season, however, Heyward was traded to the Cardinals, where he had more of the same. He put up pretty decent numbers, had the highest batting average of his career at .293, and he also ended up winning another Gold Glove. After that season, he did become a free agent. Right before the 2016 season, Heyward signed a massive 8-year, $184 million contract with the Cubs. The next season, he did end up winning the World Series with the Cubs, and he did win another Gold Glove, but his hitting was definitely a big decline from the season before. Over the next couple years, Heyward did seem to show some more improvement. He did win another Gold Glove, which was the 5th one of his career. 2019, Heyward did unusually well in the home run category. He went from having 8 the season before to having 21. And 2020, even though it was a shortened season, was also a pretty solid season for him as well. 2021, however, was a lot worse. 627 OPS, batting .214. 2022 was horrendous. So bad that the team did release him at the end of the season. However, just a few months ago, he did sign a minor league contract with the Dodgers that included an invitation to spring training. So we might see him with the Dodgers this season, we might not, but he is still playing baseball. Coming in at number 4, we have Tommy Hanson. Unfortunately, Tommy did pass away in 2015 at age 29. In 2008, Hanson, who at the time was on the Braves, was doing absolutely amazing in the minor leagues. He had a 5-0 record with a .63 ERA, 49 strikeouts in 28 innings. That is amazing. And in 2009, he was called up to the major leagues. He did well in his first season and finished 3rd in voting for NL Rookie of the Year. 2011, he did just okay, 10-11 record with a .333 ERA. So really, he was doing well up until 2012 when he heard about the passing of his stepbrother. This led to Hanson leaving the game for a few weeks for personal reasons. After that season with the Angels, he became a free agent, signed with the Texas Rangers, and then to a minor league contract with the White Sox. And the following year, signed with the San Francisco Giants, where he played for the San Jose Giants, and then for Sacramento. On November 8th of 2015, Hanson was found unresponsive at a home in Georgia. Coming in at number 3, we have Colby Rasmus. His numbers out of high school are absolutely crazy. He batted .484 with 24 home runs, 66 RBIs in only 39 games. And in 2005, Rasmus was the 28th pick to the St. Louis Cardinals. In 2006, he did well in Single-A. In 2007, he got called up to Double-A, where he hit .275, 29 home runs, 18 stolen bases. And in 2009, Colby made the opening day roster for the Cardinals. He actually had a really solid first couple seasons. He finished his rookie season with a .251 batting average, 16 home runs. And the next year he did even better than that. He hit .276, 859 OPS, and 23 home runs. At the 2011 trade deadline, Rasmus was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays. 2012 was another pretty solid year for him. The average in OPS did go down by a lot, but he was still hitting home runs in the 20s. And again in 2013, got his batting average back up to .276, OPS 840. On paper, it looks like he was having pretty decent seasons. He never won any sort of award though. Right before the start of the 2015 season, Rasmus signed a 1-year, $8 million contract with the Astros, where he would hit the most amount of home runs in one season out of his entire career at 25. He returned to Houston on a 1-year, $15 million contract, but 2016 was honestly pretty ugly, nothing to talk about there. Start of 2017, Rasmus signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Rays. However, in that year, Rasmus announced that he was stepping away from baseball. He said that he was no longer happy playing the game and just wanted to take some time away from it, which is pretty disappointing because it seemed like he had a good start to that season. A lot of injuries in 2018, and then yet again decided to leave the game, and that would be the last time he would play baseball. At number 2 on the list, we have another familiar name in David Price. Price grew up in Tennessee, where he had a .43 ERA and 151 strikeouts in high school. That's throughout his entire high school career, by the way, so basically he did not give up runs ever. He was drafted by the Dodgers in 2004, but instead he chose to go to Vanderbilt on a scholarship. He pitched there for 3 seasons, but really didn't do amazingly until his junior year, where he went 11-1 with a 2.63 ERA. Also, he played for the U.S. national team in 2005. He was picked first overall by the Tampa Bay Rays in 2007. Again, in Single A, he was absolutely lighting it up and did not receive his first professional loss until like August or September. And by then, he was already called up to AAA. In 2008, Price made his major league debut on September 14th. 2009, Price had an okay season. He went 10-7, 4.42 ERA. But in 2010, it was definitely his breakout year. He had a 2.72 ERA, went 19-6 on the year, finished second in the Cy Young voting, and was voted as an All-Star. 2011 was just okay for him. He was an All-Star again. Logistically, he was getting better. Strikeouts per 9 was getting better, and the walks per 9 was getting better. But I would say that was a slight decline from the year before. But the next year, he went absolutely crazy. He went 20-5 with a league-leading 2.54 ERA. He ended up winning the Cy Young that year, which is a really big deal for pitchers, obviously. And he was voted into his 3rd All-Star game in a row. In 2014, Price was an All-Star yet again. That was already his 4th All-Star selection of his career. He led the league in innings pitched and strikeouts. However, at the trade deadline, he was traded to the Detroit Tigers. 2015, yet another good year for Price. Led the league in ERA and was voted into another All-Star game. However, again at the trade deadline, he was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays. But he finished second in Cy Young voting and ended the season with an 18-5 record. Right before the 2016 season, Price signed a 7-year, $217 million deal with the Red Sox. However, those next few years to follow were not as good as the ones we had been seeing in the first half of his career. But they were still good. 2016, he finished with a 17-9 record. 2018, Price finished with a 16-7 record. He did also end up winning the World Series with the Red Sox in that year. In 2019, Price had to deal with a lot of injury problems, and 2020, he opted out due to COVID. However, during that COVID year, he was traded along with Mookie Betts to the Dodgers in exchange for Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong. He is still on the Dodgers, but with all of the powerhouse pitching they have on that team, you just don't hear about him as much. He finished last season with a 2-0 record, 2.45 ERA, but he only pitched in 40 innings, which is really not that much at all. At the number 1 spot, the moment we've all been waiting for, we have Matt Wieters. Matt attended Georgia Tech. He was the 5th overall pick in the 2007 draft and was absolutely amazing in Single A and Double A. In 130 games, he hit 355 with over 1,000 OPS with 27 home runs, 91 RBIs, and won Minor League Player of the Year in 2008. By the start of 2009, Wieters was called up and made his Major League debut on May 29th. By the end of his rookie season, he had played 96 games, had a batting average of .288, and hit 9 home runs. 2010 was decent for Wieters. He hit .249 and hit 11 home runs, but he was known as more of a defensive catcher. 2011, he hit 22 home runs, which at the time was his career high, hit .262, was named an All-Star, and won a Gold Glove. At the time, people were calling Wieters the best defensive catcher in the American League. 2012, an even better year for Wieters, 23 home runs, batted .249, OPS at .764, which is, it's okay. Again, his defense is really, really good. He won another Gold Glove and was named an All-Star for the 2nd year in a row. In 2013, Wieters hit another 22 home runs, only hit .235 with an OPS of .704. But in 2014, somehow he made the All-Star game, only playing like 20 games. He was hitting .308. However, he did have to undergo Tommy John surgery, so he would end up missing most of the season. Wieters returned to the lineup on June 5th of 2015, and in 2016, he was named an All-Star once again, hit 17 home runs with an OPS of 711. After that season, he did become a free agent and signed a one-year deal with the Nationals. He would end up staying there till the end of 2018, and really he did not do anything good. 2019, he signed a minor league contract with the Cardinals. However, he did make the opening day roster. He ended up playing 67 games that season, and by 2020, he hit 200, only played in 19 games. And that was pretty much the end of things in the MLB for Matt Wieters. In 2021, Wieters did want to play for the USA Summer Olympics team, but was dropped from the roster. So there goes that. However, he still is in the world of baseball. He's an assistant coach at Georgia Tech, which is where he went to school. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely know way more about these players than I did like a few hours ago. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. I definitely will. This was very fun to make. And we do have MLB The Show 23 coming out soon, so be sure to expect some of that as well. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.